What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of iSocial Talks. I'm your host, Brian Fanzo, known as iSocial Fans. And you might be able to tell my voice is a little gone from a wonderful week in New York City, which if you watched the last episode, you saw me standing out in the rain doing an episode there from Union Square Park as I was brought there for a IBM event and a design think tank and which is a really great 3 days with some really inspiring people. And I'll be sharing actually future iSocial Talk episodes, sharing some insights and lessons learned. I have a bunch of blogs and outlines and things that I'm going to put together for some future posts. But this one's actually inspired from two amazing ladies that I actually met at face-to-face for the first time at this event in New York City. They are fellow millennials. I do look young, but I am actually on the cusp of a millennial. I am born in 1981, June 9th, 81 is my birthday. And so I am on the edge of a millennial. I write for Millennial CEO, and my partner wrote the book Millennial CEO, Daniel Newman. And we're 30 days age apart, so we're both 81 babies. But I met these two amazing millennial leaders, Ashley Stahl and Chelsea Cross. Probably both of them you're familiar with if you've used the hashtag millennials or you've looked about millennial thought leaders or millennial inspiration for strong women coaches. But there are two millennials that were there at a influencer event with me this week. There wasn't very many millennials at this event. The event was amazing beyond that. But what kind of stemmed from that is a lot of our conversation was about the millennials. And I have a big opinion about that. If you read my blog posts, I have a couple of blog posts where I talk about, in my opinion, the most important skill set for a millennial today is storytelling, learning and embracing and mastering and then trying again, then mastering again, the power of storytelling. And I'm a big fan of that. But for me, millennials, the selfie generation, I've talked about it before. I've renamed it, in my opinion, I call it the humble brag generation. We've learned how to humbly brag about ourselves, and we keep those that support us and want us to do great things as while we're humble bragging. We keep them close to us. But one of the things that we were talking about at this event, and it's a futurist event, and we're talking about all these stats and data that millennials are taking over the workforce. And a funny part was they were talking about 2015, all these numbers, and the amazing MC of the entire thing said, you realize 2015 is less than 45 days away. And I thought that was funny, and I thought that was really spot on because you're talking about all these data, and I'm not going to talk about that data. I'm really going to give my opinion on why I posed the question, and I posed the question out there. Are you a millennial by the year you were born, or are you a millennial from your mindset? So I'm a millennial, and part of the reason I'm pissed off at either a bad condensation or bad naming of or grouping millennials is I don't like being grouped. I don't like being part of a stereotype, and maybe that's a millennial, or maybe that's because that's who I am. But for me, I'm proud of who I am. I'm proud of what I'm doing. I'm proud of people that are my age, people that are younger than me. I have two younger brothers. I'm the oldest of three. I have three daughters. And so some of the things that were kind of brought up to me or brought up at this event that I really wanted to kind of just stress. And so I'm going to keep this quick. I'm not going to go too long on my opinion here, but I wanted to share why I really think about it as mindsets. And yes, millennials and Gen Ys, and we had the hippie generations and the baby boomers. And yes, we're grouping all of these demographics and ages together. But when you say millennials as a group of people that were born a certain year, yes, that's something that we can talk about. But when you're making an assumption or you're categorizing, or when marketers say millennials, they're the digitally connected environment. Well, I know Marcia Collier, and she is more connected and more social than 99% of my friends. And although she's probably close to being a millennial, she is not a millennial. And I was at this event, and we were talking about millennials, and Warren said he turns 64, 65 in a couple months, and he'll be a proud 65-year-old millennial. Now, this is at an influencer conference, someone that's digitally connected, excited about the future, wanting to drive change. And so when I say it's a mindset, I say the mindset is that we don't settle. We want to make a difference. We're going to make sure we're heard. We embrace things like video. But that doesn't mean everyone that's born these years is okay with being on video or being on Twitter. My wife is a millennial as well, and she doesn't like Twitter. She's on social, but doesn't like Twitter, doesn't embrace this part of video or this kind of thing. I have brothers that are younger than me that are more connected, but aren't into, what could be the millennial concept. So for me, I like to think of it as there's a couple ways to break this down. So I took some notes, so I made sure that I'm going to keep on what I want to make sure I hit home what I'm talking about. So when we're talking about like millennials, I think of it as a mindset. And when that mindset, we talk about philosophy, we talk about, the trusting, what all about these things. And I want to kind of hit these home. So like for a millennial, the idea of mentorship or the idea of learning from those older. My dad, my parents, I've been very blessed. They raised me, they supported me in what I was doing. They always told me to be myself. And so even when I was being bullied in high school because I was the guy that didn't give in, and I, even through my career over the last 13, 14 years, I refuse to give in. And I'm not one, I don't like to wear a shirt and tie. I just something I'm not comfortable with. It's not me. I like to wear Chuck Taylors. I like to wear sandals, but usually I'm barefoot. Whoa. Right? So that was random. I'm not sure why I just threw my foot up on the screen, but because I noticed I didn't have my Converse on. But for me, part of this is really like the mindset. We realize life is short. We were raised, and we're in this fast-paced generation that is, everything is changing. I mean, I went to college in 99 to 2003. Facebook didn't exist for me. What has Facebook done to our generation now? Like and I'm a big fan of Facebook, but I was the MySpace, Napster college years. And how much has changed since then? I didn't have a smartphone. My first 8 years traveling the world, 40 plus weeks a year, the iPhone didn't exist. I was a heavy BlackBerry user. Tom Peters on Twitter posted out there something today I thought was really funny on Twitter. He said he doesn't know if he'd be smarter or would have learned more in college if he had a smartphone and Google. And I made the comment, I had Google, but I didn't have a smartphone, and we really didn't really embrace technology within my college years. My youngest brother definitely went to school in the time where Facebook was booming, social was booming, Google was booming. They actually embraced computers in the classroom. We didn't have a computer or a laptop. No one brought a laptop. iPads didn't exist. So what I'm saying here is, with all that change, in me being one of the older millennials, why would we be okay sitting back, right? And if you're not born in this years, but you've been successful, you've been part of the leaders driving change, if you want to make a difference, you've been embracing these technologies. Or I've been very blessed to have a whole group of non-millennials provide me amazing business advice, career advice, life advice. I seek out as many mentors and friends and leaders that have been there and done that and ask them to help me. And I try my best to reverse mentor. It's something I learned very young in college, as I was a president of my fraternity my sophomore year. And I had to learn how to engage and get along with people that were older than me. As I grew my team in my next career, and my team grew to 18 people, I was the youngest person on my team, and they all reported to me. I had to learn how to manage up, how to respect my elders. I always respected my elders, but there's a difference between respect and following every wish. And so, I like to think that one of those philosophies is we're living in this time of change. So if you have that millennial mindset, you're connected, you're fast-paced, and you're excited about the future. Not saying that you have to love everything about technology, but it's a mindset. It's a mindset about life has changed. Life is changing. That's the only guarantee tomorrow. I use that word change a lot because that's my personal passion. I realize and love change. Why I'm doing these talks is I want to help drive change, teach people how to use tools. I have, as you can see right here, iSocial Tools, a new video series that'll be coming out very soon, where I'll be showing and demonstrating everything from social media tools to iPhone apps to all kinds of different devices and things that I'll be demonstrating for you guys, hopefully to make change easier. Another one for me is privacy. I worked at the Department of Defense for 9 years. I worked in the government space. I understand, respect what they're doing, respect privacy, respect that not everyone is like me. But I'm willing to give up my privacy, my data for convenience. And you know what? If a marketer is going to take advantage of that data and target me with ads. Well, they're now serving me up ads that are things that I actually want versus serving me up with random ads. So I wear an up band. I'm not wearing it right now, but that I'm willing to give that data to my doctor so that my doctor can take my sleep patterns and prescribe better medicine for me. That to me is and it's all about risk versus reward. What's the worst case scenario for me? That data gets leaked or he sells it to somebody and they use that data to determine how bad my sleeping patterns are. I don't care. I don't sleep much. I'm trying to get better at that. You hear that, Tim McDonald? But for me, the upside was I was going to be prescribed better drugs, to be less guessing, and I'm arming my doctor with more information. I couldn't see that as a downside. So that's one of the things we kind of have to embrace. Now, that doesn't mean everyone has to embrace transparency, or you don't have to post your kids online. One of my favorite things in the world, the best thing that's ever happened to me in my entire life, it's happened to me 3 times. Their names are Chloe, Kinsley, and Logan, my 3 daughters. So for me, my daughters mean the world to me. So if you want to get to know me, I'm going to be who I am online and who I am offline. I'm posting pictures of my daughters. I take selfies with my kids because that's who I am. Now, I'm not saying that's for everybody, but I'm just saying think of it from that side of what we're kind of talking about here on that element of it. Another one when we talk about work-life balance. Does that really exist today? I'm in my house. I work out of my house. It's 5:45 p.m. and I'm not 9 to 5. I'm very lucky to be working, on my own with a business partner, and I'm my own boss. But the idea for me is I can work anywhere and everywhere. I'm not limited by borders. So when you think about that, if I'm focusing on my passion and I can work and live anywhere, well, if you can make your work and play, if you can tell the difference between work and play, you're not doing one of the two correctly, right? And that's a shout out to you, Warren, on your comment the other day. And for me, I'm not worried about retirement because if I can turn my work into my play, I want to play for the rest of my life till the day I die. And maybe that's just my philosophy, maybe that's my way of looking at it. But I like to think of, work-life balance as I need to make the most of every minute. I need to focus on making tomorrow a little bit better than today and learning from yesterday, but not dwelling on it because things have changed since yesterday and today. Another one I like to kind of talk about is we want to make a difference. Having, a company or a vision or a purpose. We are community driven. We're teamwork driven. We love to work in teams. And I say we as in a generation. Everyone, doesn't matter when you were born. It's a millennial mindset if you want to make a difference, if you want to drive change. So think about that. Think about that from who you work with, who you engage with that are digitally connected, are socially active, love and embrace new technologies, aren't afraid to fail with new technologies, aren't afraid to reach out to reach out to a younger brother, or maybe reach out to your grandson and say, teach me how to use this iPad, and I'm going to teach you how to manage your checkbook. Because we don't even know what checkbooks are, my generation, or my generation, the year I was born. One of the other things to talk about it is if hiring and firing for culture fit. And we want to work somewhere that we not only enjoy, but that we fit in, that we can be ourselves. I'm writing a blog post. It'll be going live probably when this video is live about IBM. And been at a lot of IBM events over the last couple of weeks, and lots of people wearing jeans. And I grew up and, my dad, I remember asking my dad, I said, Dad, IBM is huge. They have to make something more than just those laptops with that little, red finger mouse in the middle of it. And my dad kind of explained to me everything they do and all the change they're having. They're as big as a country. And it was always painted the picture to me was they were suit jacket kind of company. Well, they now have IBM Watson. They're now leading digital change. And I went to a keynote. The keynote speaker had a bow tie on, nice button-down shirt like the one I'm wearing now. He was wearing Chuck Taylors like I wear. And No Doubt played as one of the concerts that sponsored by IBM that night. So if IBM is willing to change and they're embracing this new be yourself mentality, no wonder millennials want to work for them. No wonder they're leading that change. So think about that in your company. Think about, are you allowing people to be themselves? Be what you hired them for. One of the reasons I left a job that I had right out of college was I got passed up for a promotion at UPS. I was driving the truck at UPS, and I got passed up for a promotion after I actually already received the word that I was going to get the promotion. And the reason was, you haven't worked here long enough. He has 10 years on you. You were much more qualified. We were really giving it to you, but you haven't worked here long enough. Well, I didn't work there very much longer because I wasn't going to sit back and do that, and I want to be rewarded on what I was doing. That's another thing that they kind of talk about from all millennials. Millennials want instant gratification. Well, who doesn't? If you're successful, who doesn't want instant gratification? Yes, I need to get better at saving for the long term. Yes, I need to understand that sometimes I don't have to buy something now. I can wait longer. But isn't that everyone? Isn't that really, we all have to kind of struggle with that and learn the concepts there? So stop making that something out of this generation. The other one is, they always say millennials, they're these connected, empowered consumers. Well, no kidding. We have all the data there for us. We're going to use our resources. And we were brought up in a generation and we're living in a times where we don't trust brands. And it's because brands have screwed us over. I still remember the day Enron happened. I know where I was on 9/11. The world that we live in isn't the same as whenever that was going on. And really, the trust for brands isn't the same. But that's why I love working and helping companies embrace employee advocacy, utilize social employees. So one of those things that, to me, the downfall of a company and the downfall of a culture or a team is when you ask someone why they're doing something, or when they say they don't want to change, and they caveat it with, because it's the way we've always done it. So if you're okay with being one that says, well, that's just the way it's always been, you're not a millennial by birth or mindset. But if you believe things don't have to be the same just because they were like that yesterday, I believe you have a millennial mindset, and you are a millennial just as much as the millennials that were born in the years that were qualified. So think about that as you're hiring, you're using that term, because I was very lucky to sit at the same table, collaborate with two awesome millennials that are helping other millennials get jobs, that are sharing their stories, giving advice, owning their own companies, multiple companies, getting VC backing, because they're not settling. Who told them? Who says you can't? And if you tell a millennial, you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to prove you wrong, and I'm going to make sure you know about it. But I'm going to make sure you know about it in the way that's not me shoving it in your face. All of a sudden, you're going to realize one day when you go to apply for this company that I'm the CEO of, wait, he's the CEO. How did that happen? Think about it. So remember, I believe millennial is a mindset, not a year you're born. And that mindset is, we're going to make change happen. We're not going to settle. We don't just believe something because it's always been that way. And we respect and want people to be themselves. So next time someone says, man, you're part of that selfie generation, reply back and say, yep, because we love showing off who we are, and we're proud of who we are, and we are not afraid to show it. With that, that's iSocial Talks. Remember, use the hashtag iSocial Talks, suggest topics, ask me questions, and then iSocial Tools will be coming in the next couple of days. You'll be hearing more about that, and we'll be doing a lot more videos. As always, I appreciate you, the community. I hit 20,000 followers this week on Twitter. Big number for me, just from a standpoint of, I've always focused on engagement, and numbers don't really matter, and they don't, but I'm proud of all 20,000 of those people that are following me today, because that means something to me, and hopefully I'm providing you value. Have a great one. Have a great Turkey Day. If you don't watch the next episode until Turkey Day, if you watch this before Turkey Day, eat up on Turkey Day, and go Steelers. Cheers.